Hey everyone, we live in changing times, don't we? And the phrase that I just keep hearing people saying at the moment is the new norm. What's life going to look like after lockdown? But hey, lockdown is starting to be lifted, isn't it? Live in different parts of the country and it looks different in different ways, but nevertheless it is starting to be lifted, and with being lifted comes some genuine anxiety. So we wanted to change our focus here and stop looking necessarily at how to survive lockdown, but what has the Bible got to say about the new norm, how we can have a hope in uncertain and changing times. You know, if you stick around today, you'll get to hear how God can help you in your situation and how he can make the impossible possible in your life. Okay, so we read in the Bible about the Israelites as God's chosen people, and at the time they lived in Egypt. And Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, he was getting really worried because the Israelites were growing in number, and he was really worried that they would overpower him. So he made a decree that all baby boys needed to be killed. So it's into this situation that Moses was born, a baby boy who should have been killed, but his mum managed to hide him. It's a great story, and if you love a good drama, then it's definitely worth a read. But for now, the key thing is to know that he was saved, and saved for a purpose. So Moses spent 80 years, yes, 80 years, getting prepared for the purpose which God had for him, which was to lead the Israelites out of Egypt and back to the land that God had promised for them. That's some preparation for a job. Finally, he goes to Pharaoh and asks that he lets his people go. You know, obviously Pharaoh wasn't about to suddenly say yes to letting all of his slaves go. Why would he? Okay, so this led to many plagues coming on Egypt, which resulted in great loss. And Pharaoh just said to the Israelites, "Get out!" And Moses was able to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. So finally Moses had arrived. He'd lived out his great purpose. He'd just rescued hundreds and thousands of people from slavery in Egypt, and he was heading home. You know, the future was really bright. How many of us can identify with that? You know, things in life are going really well. We're moving up the career ladder. We finally found the one we want to spend the rest of our lives with. The kids are doing really well at school. The house we've always wanted has just come through. You know, we've worked all of our lives, just retired, and can't wait for the next phase where perhaps we were going to go travelling abroad. And, you know, the future was looking bright. The next stage of our life was everything that we'd ever hoped for. But then we lift up our eyes and we look ahead and we see the greatest obstacle yet, just when we thought things were going well. So that's what happened to Moses. They were making great ground, and then he looked up and there he saw it, the Red Sea, this vast expanse of water that stood between them and the freedom they had so looked forward to. How on earth was Moses going to get all these men, women, children and all their belongings across this water? Then, as if that wasn't challenging enough, Pharaoh, who had originally allowed the Israelites to let go, had changed his mind, and he was coming up behind in hot pursuit. So Moses was faced with the deep sea ahead or the powerful army behind. Maybe you can identify with this. Everything in your life is just moving in the right direction, and then the coronavirus hits. Your business is ordered to shut with no hope of ever reopening. Or maybe that dream job that you've worked so hard for suddenly disappeared and may never come back. Or have you spent many months, maybe even years, planning your dream wedding, and then suddenly no weddings allowed? What do? Do you decide to go ahead with it and just refocus on your life together without starting with a big celebration with family or friends? Or maybe you put it on hold indefinitely, wondering when you'll be able to have the dream day you've always dreamed of. Will it be this year? Will it be next year? Will it ever be? Or did this terrible pandemic take from you someone you love? How can it ever be the future that you'd ever hoped for? You just want them back. Can life ever be good again? So could life ever be normal again? And anyway, what does normal even look like? For some people, maybe for you, it just feels like there's no way forward and no way back. But here's what I really love about Moses. He didn't give up. He knew that God was with them, and he knew that God would make a way. And there seemed to be no way. So he cried out to God for help, and here's what happened. God told the Israelites to keep moving forward to the impassable expanse. He told Moses to raise his staff and reach out his hands over the water, over that impassable expanse. And then the impossible became possible. The waters divided and the Israelites were able to walk across on dry land. That's right, the Israelites made it. They walked across the seabed and out the other side onto dry land, but the Egyptians weren't able to make it. Guys, they were free and able to move on to that bright future that they'd hoped for. Guys, who would have thought? I bet if we'd have interviewed Moses beforehand and asked him how he thought God was going to answer his prayer, he would not have seen that one coming. So if this terrible pandemic has rocked your world and you see no way to get the future that you'd hoped for, why not follow Moses' example? Guys, don't give up and keep moving forward. And as you do, cry out to God, knowing that He will make a way. And then stand back and watch God do the impossible. So let me leave you with two verses that will hopefully bring you great hope in what may appear to you to be a hopeless situation. One of them is in the book of Matthew, and it says this: humanly speaking, it's impossible, but with God, anything is possible. And secondly, in a letter to the Christians in a place called Ephesus, he says this: now all glory to God, who is able, through his mighty power at work in us, to accomplish more than we can ever ask or imagine. Let me pray for you. Lord my God, the creator of this wonderful universe, thank you for all that you've done for me. Thank you that you came and you died on the cross for me, that you have led me every day of my life. And now, Lord, I want to lift up to you everyone who is watching this video, and I add my cry to theirs. Would you comfort them? Would you pour your love on them? Would you lead them and would you guide them? And Lord, would you make the impossible possible? We know, Lord, that you are able. Amen.